Good morning and welcome to the News Review. My name is Charles Odambo. This morning, my panel consists of deputy governors. From my immediate left, Deputy Governor Nairobi County, Jonathan Mweke. Good morning and welcome.
Morning.
And on the opposite side, the Deputy Governor, West Pokot County, Mheshimiwa Titus Lote. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Correctly.
Thank you very much. Sometimes it gets a bit intricate in the pronunciation. We expect Deputy Governor Kisii, Joash Mangi, to be joining us later in the panel. But I will start with a quick rundown in what we have in the dailies today. The Business Daily has some bad news for petrol station owners, some of who have been operating illegally. 500 petrol stations face ERC closure in safety crackdown. Most of these oil dealers have been found to be operating out of in breach of sectoral regulations. Together with that, the Patni company sues Central Bank of Kenya over 55 million shilling deposit in failed bank. And a heroine's welcome for our very own Paris Jepchirchir, the new world half marathon record holder at the airport. This is after she broke the record and set a new mark at the RAK half marathon in the United Arab Emirates last Friday. The Daily Nation has a story about Makwere and Ongeri among top defectors. Now, former ministers and envoy lead what is expected to be a massive shift of political alliances as the country heads to elections. This happens as we have just about 2 days, or just under 2 days, to the completion of the voter registration exercise, as calls by leaders also keep coming in, urging the IEBC to give the exercise an extension. Remember, we have just about 175 days and 23 hours counting ahead of the much-touted elections. Also in the Standard, also in the Nation, Jubilee takes on Raila over extortion claims. We'll be looking at that in details. On the back page of the Daily Nation, teachers now face new audits on appraisals. New circulars have been issued by the Teacher Service Commission, urging that they will have to be seeking official permission anytime they have to step out of the school compound, including Saturdays and Sundays. This happens as parents plead for students to repeat Form 4. Parents have asked the government to allow the over 33,000 students who scored the lowest grade, E, in the KCSE 2016 to be given a chance to repeat those examinations. The Standard has a story about the NASA headache. Remember, NASA joined a conglomeration of opposition political parties, came up with a task force of 12 people, and they are considering various options. The Standard says alliances, 12 options. President Raila, Musalia Mudavadi as DP, President Kalonzo, Raila as DP, President Kalonzo, Wetangula as DP, President Kalonzo and Musalia as DP, and many other options that we'll be looking at in the Standard. The Taifa Leo, fomu za IEBC za naswa hotelini. Hii ni kuhusiana na ripoti ambazo ziliibuka hiyo jana ya kwamba maafisa wa polisi wakishirikiana na wenzao wa upelelezi wafumania wanaume watatu katika mtaa wa Isili wakiwa na vifaa vya IEBC pamoja na fomu za tume hiyo. Lakini hata hivyo Bwana Ezra Chiloba alijitokeza na kueleza kwamba hakukuwa na mashine zozote, zilikuwa tu ni fomu kadhaa pamoja na vitambulisho, hali kadhalika vipakatilishi. Tutazidi kuelezea ni yapi yaliyojiri katika Taifa Leo. But first, gentlemen, we look at the time of harvest here. We look at the Standard. On page 1 of the Standard, it has the NASA headache. Page 6, I don't know if you had a chance to look through it. Page 6 of the Daily Nation has a story about the NASA headache too. But we start with what they have, the 12 options. Speaker, what do you take of this? Do they have a chance? DG.
Deputy Governor.
Yeah.
Well, I think they do have a chance.
To get a compromise or something?
Well, that again depends on the way they're going to negotiate. But overall, looking at the history of coalitions, and especially at this particular time when there is a lot of political realignments, we can say they could. At the same time, we can say they cannot, because of the fact that every of these candidates feels that probably they are the right persons to either become president or deputy president. Then what happens to the rest? Because again, they are all principals. So it is very difficult for us to say that we got 4 principals and 2 of them are supposed to be in the top position.
The flag bearers.
Yeah, the flag bearers, and the rest are disappearing either to cabinet positions or something like that. So I can actually say it depends on the individuals that are forming those the principles. So if they can be able to seed ground like they have been saying, then they have a chance. But the reality again is difficult, because Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Kalonzo, or even Raila have their constituents who actually pushes them, and they want them to become the flag bearers. So what happens if they do not become flag bearers? It basically means that we might at the same time expect them to disassemble and
you expect a fallout?
They could be at the fallout.
Disintegration of NASA?
Yes, it could. Actually, for me, I expect that is exactly what I'm expecting. But then I want to also say, to also become fair to them, that they can if they actually can be able to take down the egos and decide to go as a team. But the chances for that is very, very minimal.
Titus expects a fallout. DG Jonathan Mweke, do NASA principals have a chance to reach the final goal?
Yeah. First of all, Charles, I don't know why the Standard is calling it a headache. There's no headache anywhere. I mean, you have a super alliance that is focused and highly organized. They've come together and agreed and signed an agreement to that effect, that they're going to go jointly to take on the Jubilee government and take over power of this country. Then number 2, they've sat together and put in a joint committee to work out the details on how this is going to work.
A technical committee of 12 people?
Yeah, well, it's 8, and then another committee that's giving also technical assistance, a committee of experts of about 6. So they have a plan. I don't know why there's so much speculation. You've seen the principals go around over and over saying that they're going to support whoever is chosen as the flag bearer or whoever emerges as the flag bearer. So I don't understand this talk again of a fallout. If you have the people themselves who are the principals saying that they're going to be together no matter what, and they repeat it over and over again. You saw Kalonzo yesterday in Mombasa saying that he's in NASA to stay no matter what happens. So you have that. Then last but not least, you know, it's very tough to be in the opposition, and you have to be extremely focused, especially with government that's oppressive. You recall the first thing that Jubilee government did when they took power was to say that the principals won't even get their pension, which is entitled to them as former government officials, until they quit politics. I mean, what kind of oppression is that? And these 3 principals, now 4, stuck together for now more than almost 4 years, headed to the 5th year, under very, very harsh conditions, and withdrawal of or limited security, and no pension, and they said, listen, this country is bigger than ourselves individually, and they've stuck together, they've pushed causes together. They did Okoa Kenya, they did the reform for IEBC together, including being tear-gassed. I mean, how do you tear-gas prime ministers and vice presidents? I don't think it's ever been seen anywhere in the world. But these principles have stayed together. Now, the fear is so real about a joint opposition taking over power that all this speculation you're beginning to see, some of it is machinations from government agencies.
But DG Lote here seems to be casting aspersions as to the possibility of these people remaining united, given their egos.
But what egos? I've just spent quite some time explaining that if they've been out in the cold in the opposition under very harsh conditions, they've remained together. Now that they're smelling victory 6 months to go, why would you separate?
The prize is yonder. Only 2 people can have it and not 4.
Exactly. And that's why there are details that are being worked out, which role everybody should play. And note, I said role, I didn't say positions, because there's no angling for positions. The 4 parties have come together, they're inviting more parties, and they're saying everybody has a role to play to ensure that this country can return to a country of prosperity, and it can only be done if the Jubilee government is voted out. So the price is very clear. The Super Alliance is focused and extremely organized. I guess all these headlines you're seeing is because no information has been divulged. The principles are going around the country.
So speculation.
It's just speculation and fear. fear also that now the other side, the opponents in Jubilee, are like, you know what, these guys are too organized. There must be something cooking. Let's try and disrupt.
These guys are too organized.
I don't think they are organized.
You don't think so?
I really don't think they are.
And why?
So one, I think I want, first of all, to talk about what Mweke said about Jubilee being an oppressive government. I don't think it is true. Because one, they did not deny these principles or whatever, pension. What basically is that they're going to keep this until they're out of politics.
Did they deny that?
Of course, and it's on record. They say until you know you have only two major coalitions, yeah? Until you retire from politics. Now tell me, will you have an opposition if Kalonzo and Raila retire from politics?
Of course,
no.
We will
so if the Jubilee want to be a dictator,
no,
they're
it is
going
not
back to one party
because
rule.
one, Mweke, I think what you're trying to say is that opposition is Raila and Kalonzo. We've got a lot of Kenyans who can actually still come in opposition. There are a lot of
how do you define an
member.
opposition after an election?
Yeah. Who else?
After an election,
the person who doesn't get the prize.
The person who doesn't get the prize then become the opposition.
And in this case, it's Raila
and Kalonzo.
But then actually what they're saying is, as long as they're active in politics, they cannot get their pension. Just like if you're working, if you're still working actively, then you cannot get your pension. You only get your pension to allow you to retire peacefully. So why should we give you to retire when you actually still
that doesn't work for elective politics.
Hold it right there, gentlemen. Mheshimiwa Jonathan Mweke, Deputy Governor Nairobi, Mheshimiwa Titus Lote, Deputy Governor West Pokot. We'll be back after a short break. We expect Mheshimiwa Joash Mangi, Deputy Governor Kisii, to join us. And remember, today we'll be looking at have deputy governors lived up to their mandate as we head towards the next general election shortly after this.